Welcome back to Big Mouth and welcome to the dceu Daily. Look at this, an image from the Joker, Jared Leto's Joker from Zack Snyder's Justice League Snyder Cut. But this isn't the only one. This is my absolute favourite one. This is absolutely fantastic. Look at this. This is a solemn figure on his own in the nightmare future. This is the Joker. I absolutely love this design. It's absolutely fantastic. Zack Snyder is the ultimate tactician. He knows exactly what he's doing by using Jared Leto's Joker to promote his Justice League Snyder Cut movie. It's so smart. The Joker is one of the most popular, most famous characters in pop culture. Most of the things that he's in live action make a lot of money. Joker movie, The Dark Knight. It's just, the first Batman film that Tim Burton directed. If the Joker's involved, Suicide Squad made a lot of money because of Harley and the Joker's relationship, right? The Joker brings eyes to any project. And this is why Snyder brought him back. So what happened yesterday? Again, another big shock, another big surprise, a beautiful surprise from Zack Snyder. We found out that he went to Vanity Fair and did a whole interview with them and gave them around 3 photos, right? One of the ones I haven't shown you. But basically, my 2 favourites I have shown you, and you've seen them already anyway, and you're as hyped as I am. So he went to Vanity Fair to do an interview and gave them those photos exclusively. There is no bigger media outlet than Vanity Fair. This was genius by Zack. And right here, right now, we're going to read this interview together. First look at Jared Leto's eerie Joker in Zack Snyder's Justice League. Exclusive from Vanity Fair. By Anthony Brezinkan. I can't say that name, sorry. In 2 exclusive images, the villain is more of a walking nightmare than the tattooed crime lord Leto played before. What becomes of a prophet of mayhem in a world that has already fallen apart? ? Maybe he just lurks among the other nightmares in their blighted landscape. Maybe he has indulged all of his most bloodthirsty impulses to the point of boredom. Maybe he hunts down those striving for order until he finds someone still capable of being hurt. This is the Joker as he appears in Zack Snyder's new Justice League, an entirely new element the filmmaker decided to add as he completed his original vision of the DC Comics team-up. Jared Leto's Clown Prince was not part of Snyder's original plan before walking away from the movie in 2017 amid a clash with Warner Brothers leadership and grief over a family tragedy. Now, this is important the way they've kind of lined this, because normally, how many Screen Rant articles have I read you? He left because of family tragedy. Now, they're saying the problems with what the old regime of WB were part of the problem, as well as the loss of Autumn. But when HBO Max offered him the chance to finalise his own cut of the movie, the director had a few things he wanted to add to the long-awaited Snyder Cut. Batman's nemesis was one of them. The Joker is really the only thing that I thought of in retrospect, Snyder tells Vanity Fair, but I will say that it was always my intention to bring Joker into that world. Always part of the plan. When he first began working on DC films a decade ago, Snyder thought he would eventually bring the villain into conflict with Batman in a later project. But after his falling out with the studio, he realised that probably would never happen. Instead, when given the opportunity to finally finish Justice League his way for HBO Max, he asked for additional photography to fit Joker into the 4-hour event, debuting March the 18th. He asked for that and he got it. He got over $75 million to finish his movie. So credit to Warner Media, Jason Keeler and Sarnoff, but especially John Stankey over at AT&T, who really we've got to thank for this even being possible. The only real rule about depicting the Joker on screen is that you have to put your own twist on the monster. Variation is not just allowed but expected. In this case, Snyder chose to cast his Joker as Leto, who played the part in an entirely different form in David Ayer's Suicide Squad in 2016. Gone are the face tattoos and slicked back emerald undercut hairstyle of that movie, replaced by a visage that looks like a creature who crawled out of the basement of a long-abandoned insane asylum. Maybe he did. Leto is wearing a hospital gown and surgical mask in the photo Snyder released exclusively to Vanity Fair, which the director says is probably a remnant of his escape into the wild when the world fell. In some of his Justice League scenes, Leto's Joker also sports a bulletproof vest festooned with grimy law enforcement badges. He has tons of badges, Snyder said. Those are his trophies. Wow. Spoiler warning, right? So this is a spoiler warning for anyone who doesn't want to know what happens with Jared Leto's Joker in Zack Snyder's Justice League Snyder Cut. Are you all still here? Let's do this. Joker appears in the new film during a sequence set on a ruined Earth after the alien tyrant Darkseid invades and decimates the planet. It's a dream sequence, a psychic vision experienced by Ben Affleck's Bruce Wayne that reveals what will happen if the superheroes fail to stop the onslaught. Joker is sort of the ghost of Christmas yet to come, supplying motivation through terror. The cool thing about the scene is that it's Joker talking directly to Batman about Batman, Snyder said. It's Joker analysing Batman about who he is and what he is. That's the thing I also felt like fans deserved from the DC universe. That is to say that the Jared Leto Joker and the Ben Affleck Batman, they never really got together. It seemed uncool to me that we would make it all the way through this incarnation of Batman and Joker without seeing them come together. Absolutely, I couldn't agree more. Snyder already had a history devised in his head. The scene explains why Bruce had the Joker card tacked to his gun that you see in Batman vs Superman, the director says, of his 2016 film, which also hinted that the Joker murdered the Caped Crusader's sidekick by showing the absent Robin's armour spray painted with "ha ha ha, joke's on you, Batman." I'd always wanted to explore the death of Robin, Snyder said, and if there ever was going to be a next movie, which of course there probably won't be, we'll talk about that line later on, I wanted to do a thing where in flashbacks we learn how Robin died, how Joker killed him and burned down Wayne Manor, and that whole thing that happened between he and Bruce. The director's plan was to show how they became like this, how he hurt him in a way no one has. Really, other than losing his parents, it was probably the most significant personal injury to his life. That's the role this new Joker sequence will fulfill in Justice League, but those seeking continuity may have questions. What happened since we last saw this Joker in Ayer's film? Is there tattoo removal in the apocalypse? Say that again. Is there tattoo removal in the apocalypse? Yeah, good point. I would say that there's been some water under the bridge. Who knows what's happened, Snyder said. I don't know if he's wearing makeup. I don't know what's happening. It's hard to say exactly, but of course he does know. You can interpret that to mean Snyder just liked it better this way. His version of Justice League will exist on its own, making use of some material from other DC movies, but standing alone as a kind of Elseworlds tale. As Joker might advise, just roll with the chaos. Wow, 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 wow. That's absolutely fantastic. So now we need to rewind. There's a lot to kind of unpackage here, of course, and it's so extremely, utterly exciting for this to happen. Now, I did warn you a few weeks back that Zack Snyder was in complete control of Justice League Snyder Cut marketing, and that Warner Brothers, upon his request, allowed him to do that. And one of the things I said to you that he would do was kind of get Access Media involved. And he doesn't care if they hate him, love him. They are a tool to be used, as I said to you. So leave the hate at the front door. Zack's decision, Zack's baby, how he raises it is entirely up to him. And so a smart move by Snyder. Now, one of the ways Snyder got the Snyder Cut to be released was to tell us and the media and the public and the consumer what he would have done. This is a very, very clever way to kind of amplify our need for the restoration of the Snyderverse. He did it with the Snyder Cut. He's doing it again in this interview. What he does very cleverly in this interview, and I don't know if you've all noticed this, is that he tells you the plan. He wanted to explore how Joker killed Robin and the relationship between him and Batman. He's telling you that. He's saying to you, probably won't happen. A lot of people are saying, you see, it's not going to happen. We were right. No. Let's back down. Let's back down from this, unless you really don't want it to happen, and that's why you're saying that. He's saying it on purpose. He's pushing our buttons like he already has in a very smart, tactical way. As I say, the ultimate tactician. If he says it's probably not going to happen, what are we going to do? Right, let's make some noise. Let's make this happen. He knows this. He wants to do more, and he wants to use us to make sure that he does do more. Do not take the success of Zack Snyder's Justice League Snyder Cut for granted. This is up to us now. We have to fight. We have to view it. We have to advertise it. But again, as I said on the top of the show, it's very, very smart of Zack to use Jared Leto's Joker as the marketing campaign. Because as I've already said, the Joker is one of the most famous, most popular characters in pop culture. Use him and the mainstream are going to be interested. So now the mainstream and consumers who are not obsessed with Zack and don't know how to take him and his material are saying, hang on a minute, this is a totally new Joker. But Zack has done an extremely clever thing. He's taken away the thing that everybody hated, the tattoos, the slicked back hair, the style that David Ayer gave us. Lots of people hated this. Zack hasn't taken it away to disrespect David's vision. He's taken it away because he knows the only way to get the Ayer cut, the only way for him to make more Snyderverse material is to make the mainstream happy. Now, Zack always says, all I care is about my vision and all I care about is that my fans are making them happy. And of course, but we alone can't restore the Snyderverse. If the mainstream and other interested people who read comics and love CBMs don't come and stream this on HBO Max, do not subscribe to HBO Max in their boatloads, we are not going to restore the Snyderverse. You may not like that. I don't like that fact, but we need to use them and we need to use Access Media. Exactly what Zack's doing right here and right now. He's saying, look, this is the Joker you wanted, isn't it? He hasn't got the tattoos anymore. He said, I don't know why he hasn't got the tattoos. Is he wearing makeup? I don't know. He knows exactly what he's doing. It's kind of bending the knee without compromising what he wanted to do, because he always wanted to explore Jared Leto's Joker anyway. Is this the same Joker from David Ayer's Suicide Squad, or is it like the author of that article says, this is just Elseworld? We know that Zack's kind of said, my Justice League movie now is Elseworld. Nothing to do with anything else apart from Batman versus Superman and Man of Steel, right? That's it. That's my universe, right? That's the story that I'm telling. So by removing the tattoos, it's genius. What was my reaction from... It's interesting because one of the people I follow who follows me was shouting, saying, oh my God, Vanity Fair is spoiling this. How dare they? I hope they've got Zack's permission. And I clicked onto it and I said, yeah, this is all by Zack Snyder's design. Everything is by Zack Snyder's design. He's a genius. Not only is he a great storyteller, a great filmmaker, but he knows how to market people. He knows how to manipulate people in a good, positive way. And as I say, doing this like this and taking away the very thing that people hated about Jared Leto's Joker changes everything. It engulfs and it kind of makes the audience that hated Jared Leto's design, who hated him in Suicide Squad, who hated Suicide Squad itself, say, hang on a minute, this is my Joker. I want to explore this. I want to explore this Man of Steel and Batman versus Superman, a universe. I want to explore the Snyderverse now because Zack Snyder's done something. He's put something right. that I didn't like. This is a very, very smart, interesting move. It's a great article. The pictures are fantastic. The design, and for the people who say they don't like the design of the Joker and the way he looks, and it's not their bag. First of all, we're talking about evolution here. Joker is part of a nightmare future, a dream sequence, right? It's something that doesn't exist. It's a precautionary tale of what will happen if Batman and Superman and the rest of the Justice League don't save the present day. They will save the present day, so that won't happen. So it's not actually real. So he's kind of a ghost. That's why he's got the white gown. It's very, very clever. But the biggest thing about this whole thing is that to see Jared Leto's Joker and Ben Affleck's Batman on screen together for the first time is also a smart move. Not only is it iconic, not only is it every fan's wet dream, and not just Snyderverse fans' wet dream, it's every DC fan's wet dream. People will come. People will come to see this. People are going to be inspired by this and would much rather watch this than Falcon and the Winter Soldier. This is massive. Nobody knows how to market and amp up the hype level like Zack Snyder. This marketing is absolute genius from a genius. Now, this is a very interesting article from Screen Rant by someone called Mansoor Mifwakla. I've killed another name. I'm sorry, mate, but this is a very interesting article from Screen Rant and what this journalist has done. So we're going to read it. And it's in fact about the very thing I was just saying about the removal of the tattoos. It's so smart. Let me tell you how I feel about Jared Leto's design in Suicide Squad. It's New 52 centric. He's a gangster in the New 52. It's what he looks like. But the problem was, and the problem isn't the design. The problem is everyone was so obsessed with Heath Ledger's Joker because it wasn't a repeat and it was so dramatically different. People couldn't handle it. People hate change. So let's give this a read. But by the way, I like the tattoos. I like the slick back green hair and what he's dressed. It's a different Joker. It's a different iteration. So it's absolutely fine. But people simply didn't like it. And we can't force people to like something they didn't like, as long as the criticism is constructive. While Leto's Joker doesn't have his damaged tattoo in Justice League Snyder Cut, Jared Leto's Joker is missing his infamous damaged tattoo in Zack Snyder's version of Justice League. And there are 3 possible reasons for that. The first real look at Jared Leto's Joker in Zack Snyder's Justice League shows him without his signature damaged tattoo. One of the biggest questions surrounding Snyder's version of Justice League, of which there are many, is why Leto's Joker is returning. He wasn't in the theatrical version and wasn't planned to be added in pickup shoots that Snyder had wanted before his exit. Yet he's become a major talking point. A huge part of that is because of Leto himself. He's a huge talking point because this is the Joker, and this is why Zack's doing it. It's smart business. Joker is one of the most iconic characters in all of entertainment, and each version of the character is different from the ones that have come before. Leto's Joker is no different, but perhaps he took things a bit too far. Everything from the makeup and the tattoos to the overall depiction of the character made Leto's Joker in Suicide Squad controversial. Leto and writer-director David Ayer have always stated there's more to Joker than that was shown in the theatrical version of Suicide Squad. But seeing those additional scenes may never happen. It will. We're going to fight and we're going to make sure it happens. In the meantime, Snyder's Justice League can act as a form of redemption. But the question is here, you see, it's an illusion of redemption. It's to say to the people who didn't like him in Suicide Squad, look what we've done. Give it a look. It's clever to suck people in, but it doesn't mean Zack Snyder believes that the design for the Joker in Suicide Squad was bad, but he's playing the game to get more Snyderverse, and this is a very smart move. While Snyder initially teased Leto's Joker with a blurred out image reminiscent of Joaquin Phoenix's Joker, the official first look reveals him with longer hair and without neon colours, no tattoos and seemingly wearing makeup. Almost all of that is different from the version seen in Suicide Squad. But then again, this is Snyder's version, And in this version, Joker doesn't have his tattoos anymore. There are three possible reasons for that. Something happened to Joker in universe response to backlash over Joker's tattoo, and Snyder wanted a different look. That is part of it. It's a game. He's playing the game. Given this is Snyder's Justice League, the film is very much a continuation of Batman vs Superman Dawn of Justice, particularly the Ultimate Edition, which means there will be an extended nightmare sequence that sees Batman and Superman in a dystopian future. Joker will be there as well. A lot can change over the years, so Joker may have found ways to get rid of or cover up his tattoos, like with makeup, as other Jokers have used before. This hasn't been confirmed, but it's been implied by Snyder, who told Vanity Fair, "I don't know if he's wearing makeup. I don't know what's happening. It's hard to say exactly." To Snyder, the reason itself isn't as important as showing this version of Joker that he wanted to tell. And as I've already explained, it's a kind of ghostly Joker as well. It's a Dickensian Joker, if you like. It's a very clever way of imparting information to the audience and to Batman. And I can't wait to see this. I can't wait to see this movie. Give it to me now. Another reason that may be lingering in the back of Snyder and other people's minds is the fact Joker's tattoos were despised when they were first revealed years ago. It showed a Joker starkly different from versions moviegoers and comic book readers have come to know. If the tattoos meant something more, something beyond just existing, then they could have been accepted on some level. But that didn't happen, at least not in Suicide Squad's theatrical cut. And so Joker's damaged tattoo being gone, along with the rest of his tattoos in Snyder's Justice League, is a great step forward for the character, even if it's his last step. Right. Basically, it's not his last step. This is not the end of Zack Snyder's Justice League, Batman vs Superman, Man of Steel universe. It's not the end. If marketing ploys from Snyder like this, with the Vanity Fair reveal, work, we are going to have a very successful streaming event. And I've always believed that's the case. Snyder has created intrigue. And marketing the Joker, as I've already said, is genius, but this is just the beginning of his marketing plan. Now, I don't know what he's going to reveal before the trailer reveal this Sunday on Valentine's Day, but the trailer is massive. And as I've said before, I expect this to be an extended 5-minute trailer. I could be wrong. It could reveal a few things. Again, it's not because he wants to spoil us. It's because he must ramp up the marketing ploy. We're going to watch it already. He doesn't need to convince us to watch it. He needs to convince everybody else to watch it. And if Snyder pulls this off, and if this is the most successful streaming event in streaming history, then Zack Snyder has turned the whole thing around, and the Snyderverse will return. And that, my friends, is exactly our end game. Now, in other DC news, this is massive if you're an Arrowverse fan and you're looking forward to, like me, Superman and Lois, because this is massive, massive casting news. Angus McFadden, who I've just followed, who played a massive role in Mel Gibson's Braveheart, who was brilliant in that film, has been cast as Jor-El. And this is what Angus has just said. Angus McFadden, if you want to follow him, by the way, great guy, great lad, by the way. I love this lad to bits. I'm so happy. So he's been cast as Jor-El. This was his reaction. Well, since it's time for me to start playing dads in twilight years of my career, why not play Superman's dad, ? At least he dresses cool. And this is the article from comicbook.com. We're just clicking onto it. Right. Superman and Lois casts Angus McFadden as Jor-El, exclusive. Scottish actor Angus McFadden will appear in the CW Superman and Lois, playing the role of Jor-El. Comicbook.com has learned exclusively the character previously played by luminaries like Marlon Brando and Russell Crowe is going to serve much the same role in Superman and Lois that he has done in previous installments of the Superman mythology. He will serve as a spectral guide to his son, Superman, via the technology of the Fortress of Solitude. Whether it will be Superman or his children, whom he will learn his secret identity in the pilot, who benefit from the advice, is not yet clear. Recently, the TV series Krypton, which ran for 2 seasons on Sci-Fi, starred Cameron Cuffey as Jor-El's father, Seg-El. The series featured the birth of Jor-El, revealing that Superman's father was in fact the brother of General Drew Zod. They're played by Arrowverse's veteran Colin Salmon, and Salmon was amazing as Zod in Krypton, wasn't he? Here's the official, albeit pretty minimal, character description for Jor-El. Jor-El is Clark Kent's Kryptonian father. Though he died along with Krypton, his brilliant essence still exists within the Arctic fortress of Solitude to provide guidance when his son seeks help. The character will debut in the series' 2nd episode, which will air on March the 2nd on the CW. March is a massive month, isn't it, for DC fans, as well as Zack Snyder's Justice League Snyder Cut. But I'm so happy about this. And who's seen the design for the Fortress of Solitude in Supergirl before? It's beautiful. So he's going to be going there quite a lot. I wasn't sure if we were going to get a Jor-El, but we are getting a really personal, family, epic Superman story. And to have this actor, who is one of the best actors out there, and I don't know if you remember, is it Angus, right? You know, Angus, right? Get names wrong all the time. He'll tell you that. But he's a really good actor. He's done so many great things. And there's something about this actor. If you see his performance in Braveheart, there's something kind and something you want to trust about him. And the bond he had with Mel Gibson's William Wallace really worked in Braveheart. And I expect him to have a similar bond with Clark and the twins as well. Superman and Lois is a big budgeted TV series. This is not your normal Arrowverse TV series, because I believe, as I've said many times on Twitter and on here, I truly believe that the 2nd season will go exclusively to HBO Max. This film is being made with HBO Max money. There is no way the CW could afford this type of budget on their own. So this is a big deal for Warner Media, Warner Brothers Television, and HBO Max. This show has to work. They've invested in it. They're desperate for it to be successful. And I found a review from Krypton site on the pilot episode of Superman and Lois. So if you're worried about spoilers, I don't think it's that spoilery, but if you're worried about it, I'm going to press pause for a split second, go away, and come back once you've seen the pilot episode of Superman and Lois. I had 2 options. To read IGN's positive review of the pilot or read Krypton sites. The reason I decided to read Krypton sites is because I started reading IGN. This is what it said. Superman the movie was a bad iteration, a badly written story with a good cast. Man of Steel was a bad movie with a good Superman. Once I started reading that, as you know, I love those 2 movies. Loved them. And to read shit like that, sorry mate, you lost the click. You lost the click because instead of talking about what you love, which was the pilot, and it sounds like an amazing pilot. Everyone who's seen it is telling me that, Mick, you've got to see this pilot. And I can't wait. As a Superman fan, I'm desperate to see it. But when you start, building down 2 things that I love to build up something else, I'm sorry. I can't get involved with you. I can't give you the click, and I will not come onto YouTube to my subscribers and read out hatred towards something that most of us on here watching this video absolutely love. So Craig Byrne has been talking about Superman for many years. He was talking about the Lois and Clark show many years ago. But his success as a site came from being the exclusive place for Smallville spoilers, pictures, interviews. So Craig did a great job back then. And Smallville is one of my favourite versions and live action versions of Superman of all time. So this is his review of Superman and Lois, the pilot. Let's do this. A new series starring Tyler Hoechlin as the Man of Steel and Elizabeth Tulloch as Lois Lane, Superman and Lois, premieres Tuesday, February the 23rd on the CW with a 2-hour event. The CW made the pilot episode available for press review and the embargo lifts on the day this is posted. While caution is made to keep this review as spoiler-free as possible, some elements of the TV series premiere are being discussed within. This is certainly not my first Superman TV series to be writing about. My personal TV internet fandom began back in '94 when I first dialed in on the Prodigy the night of the Season 2 premiere of Lois and Clark, The New Adventures of Superman, seeing Posts noting the sudden recasting of Jimmy Olsen and lamenting the loss of key characters from season 1, the Lois and Clark pilot starring Terry Hatcher and Dean Cain is still one of my favourite TV series introductions, and Terry still ranks as one of my favourite Lois Lanes. It was my love for that show that had me starting Krypton Club newsletter and AOL with a friend when I was still in high school. Ultimately, some fellow fans and I wrote an unaired 5th season of fan fiction to send out to Sundays, the fall after ABC cancelled the show. Then came Smallville, one brilliant thing that creators Alfred Goff and Miles Miller never quite got enough credit for is that they managed to create a situation for Superman in a TV show that could go on for a full decade. No comic book show had ever done that. None has done it since. Smallville was also transformative for me. I was able to write the official companion guides for the series, and for that show I created Krypton Site, a website you surely have heard of, if you happen to be reading this. When Tyler Hoechlin first showed up on Supergirl as Superman, he was a breath of fresh air. He was respectful and kind, yet still felt commanding. He seemed determined to do the right thing. I said the same thing, and I had the same reaction about Tyler's Superman from day one. Now, he may not have the iconic height and stature of Superman, but his performance as the character is bang on, and we can take it outside if you disagree. And cared about others above all. While some movies that had come out in recent years gave us a darker Superman, I couldn't quite identify with myself. Here we go. Yeah, so there's a little bit of Man of Steel hate there, but we'll get over it. I couldn't quite identify with myself, despite great casting in Henry Cavill. Hoechlin's Superman felt like he was written for me to enjoy. That's okay, we can enjoy what we want. And part of the joy of being a Superman fan is that if you are not a fan of the current incarnation, another is surely round the corner. But I digress. Yeah, you shouldn't have even gone into it, Craig. Just stick to the thing. I don't care if you don't like Man of Steel or BVS. It's not about that. It's about this thing here. Talk about what you love. But I digress. I like Tyler a lot. I didn't feel as connected in some of the later crossovers, but that was more of a matter of not getting to spend a lot of time with him. No, Craig, your bias towards Arrowverse clouds your judgment. The reason you didn't like him after his premiere episode in Supergirl is because they watered him down and it was terrible what Berlanti did to him. But anyway, I believe the pilot will make up for this. I think this is going to be a great project. The same went for Elizabeth Tulloch's Lois Lane. She seemed great, but hadn't had a whole lot to do yet. The first thing I can say about the Superman and Lois pilot, that the new series fixes that. And the rapport and chemistry between the two actors is so strong. I spent the opening minutes of the show with a big grin, much like the one I had watching the Adventures of Supergirl episode where Tyler's Superman was introduced. There was more than one time when I scored at my TV at what I had seen. This is a full-on Superman TV show with a movie-quality visual effects. Smallville gave us Superman who wasn't Superman yet, so flights were few and far between, and types were even rarer. But here we have Tyler Hoechlin flying around and doing things in ways the Lois and Clark technology and budget could have only dreamed of. And yes, he looks much better in the new costume. I think the new costume was a must, and I think they all knew the Arrowverse one simply wasn't good. It was okay, it wasn't terrible, but this is something special. The show feels and looks different from anything we've seen before in the Arrowverse. Yes, I still refuse to call it anything else. The way it is shot, the way in which it is written, I almost wish it took place in its own little world, even though Crisis had recently smoshed so many worlds together. Superman and Lois is not burdened by the requirement of watching 25 plus seasons of past Arrowverse shows to follow it. Someone can come in from day one and they will completely get the story. Moreover, I feel that this is the start of a new direction as other shows get older and switch out and new properties come in to the CW lineup in particular, whereas there's a distinct effort to be unique versus creating more of what's just comfortable. As far as I can tell, there are no references to any other series in the pilot. Yeah, they're trying to distance themselves because this is going HBO Max in season 2. At least, and I kind of like it that way as it keeps things grounded. And as much as I love some of the other shows, I feel like if Superman and Lois was the only DC comic show on television at this time, it would surely get more attention than it may end up with. It could still do very well, but if it was the only, I can only imagine. Basically, it doesn't matter how many shows are out there. If this is the best one, and I suspect it will be, people will only talk about this. But this is going to be something else. This is about HBO Max. This is a proper Superman show for the future of HBO Max. Some of you won't accept that. Some of you won't like that. But they're the facts. This is what people are telling me. Adding to the uniqueness of this show is that I don't see it falling into some of the traps of the Arrowverse series. I don't think this is a show that will end up having a Team Flash or a DEO. Thank fuck for that. To back up our heroes, even if the Super Kids, more on them in a second, have powers, I don't see them suiting up the way the Daughters of Black Lightning have. Although I love that. That is also a series about a super family. This is a family drama first and a superhero show second. Or at least that's the impression I get from the first episode. Yeah, basically they're using the family element to kind of get you emotionally, to get you invested emotionally. And that's clever. It's like Alias, which I've been rewatching. I'm on season 4 now. Sydney was in this complicated life where she's a double agent. She's a spy. But in the first season, she always went home to her friends, Will and Francie. That kept her grounded in the other dramas and these other characters who she couldn't trust. And I think they're trying to do a similar thing here, and it's very clever. Tyler and Elizabeth shine as Clark and Lois. I don't know if it is a result of the pandemic and the actors all having to stay in the same bubble, but especially the 4 actors that make up the Kemp family have already developed in a realistic and natural chemistry. But about the parents, I feel like that there is a mutual respect between them, even when it is not said out loud. The body chemistry and the way they look at one another, these are 2 people who care about each other very much. And this certainly serves as an argument against the trope from some comic book fans and creators that married Superman and Lois is boring. Right, listen to me. Married Superman and Lois mostly is boring because normally what happens, those writers water down the Superman stuff. I get the impression that everything is going to be married together in a great way in this. So to try and put this as, romance over drama is more important, I don't agree with that. The pilot shows the first time they meet, and it's adorable, and it's great to see that many years later they are going strong. Yes, they disagree on things like where or not to tell their sons, Jordan and Jonathan, the truth about their father. That is still natural for a relationship. As I mentioned, Tyler seems to embody everything I want from a Superman. And Elizabeth has that drive, the thirst for truth and the love for printed journalism and helping people through the press that only the world's greatest reporter could accomplish. Tyler gets Clark as much as Elizabeth truly gets Lois, which is great. While I'm not sure anyone would say they look like twins, right, this is interesting because not all twins look like each other. Like my 2 nieces, they're twins. They were born a minute apart, so they don't look like each other, and that's fine. While I'm not sure anyone would say they look like twins, Jordan Lass and Alex Garfin already also have a fantastic rapport as brothers Jonathan and Jordan. I'm still unsure why, after they did the casting, they didn't just flip their characters' names so Jordan could be Jordan. Why does that matter? It's called acting and pretending, mate. To prevent confusion, Jonathan is the golden boy of the family. Having girlfriends and already on his school's varsity football team as a freshman, Jordan is more introverted, playing video games, listening to loud music. Now, this is interesting. So it looks like one of them, the one who's a bit shyer, less confident, could be manipulated by the stranger. So you've got a Cain and Abel situation here. This is a very interesting concept. So you've got, varsity football team as a freshman. Jordan is more introverted, playing video games, listening to loud music, with some personal conflicts within. Exactly. Although the 2 of them are very different, you can tell that they look out for one another, which will come in handy as the family finds themselves back in Smallville. It will be very interesting to see where the show goes with these 2. While the show is called Superman and Lois, it is also very much about their kids as well. But I think we're happy it's only called Superman and Lois Craig and not Superman, Lois and kids. That would be dumb, wouldn't it? In Smallville, we will see Martha. Why did I say that name? Shut up. You can see some of these people, the bitterness and anti-Snyderverse they've got. Why can't they keep their mouths shut? I think there's something wrong with them. Anyway. And also Clark's old friend, girlfriend, Lana Lang, now married to Fire Chief Carl Cushing. and played by Emmanuel Tricky. I do find Lana annoying, but I think that's intentional. Oh dear. I am intrigued by where her character might go in the series, and it will all involve any interactions with the Morgan Edge story, especially as he's been behind some shady deals in Smallville involving her bank. After all, an actress of Creaky's stature, should we say that again? Creaky's stature has got to be doing more than explaining reverse mortgages, I hope. Eric Valdez plays Kyle Cushing, and they have 2 daughters. Kyle is deeply proud of Smallville, but politically is surely as different from Lois Lane as one could possibly be. That's interesting. With that said, Valdez gives a very realistic performance as someone you'd expect to see in a small town. So what I can see already before going on with this review is there's a lot of world building going on here, which is absolutely fantastic. This is why Smallville lasted for a decade and worked. Indy Navarrete plays Cushing, oldest daughter Sarah, and she has a complicated Emily Van Camp in Everwood vibe, but is just as immediately likeable. Like the others, she has a lot of chemistry with the entire cast and fun and surprising interactions with them. Sarcasm, I just can't wait for the Jorah versus Jonah shipper wars. Oh God, shut up. I don't want to hear it. But this is going for a different audience as well, so I don't think that's going to be an issue. Dylan Walsh takes over as Glenn Mosher, who played General Sam Lane in Supergirl. And while I was afraid he'd be too young, no, never an issue, mate, he fits into the tapestry well. I do wonder what a general has to do with the overarching plot, but I'm pretty sure there's a lot more to it than we know. He also knows Clark is Superman, revealed in the trailer, so I'm not ruining anything. So I'm very curious how that would go. If anything, he also offers a different adult opinion, and we all have family who falls into that category from time to time. I do wonder if we'll ever see Lois' sister Lucy again, if it will be as big of a recast if Jenna Dewan isn't available to reprise her Supergirl role. I hope someone has Jessica Lowndes' number because that's who I'd have in mind. Never heard of her, so I don't know, Craig. Finally, the Stranger. Now, this is the most important element of this show, who will be played by Wal Parks. This guy's a wild card. He's the only supervillain, really, that Superman faces in the first episode. And for only a small percentage of the story, I'd say he probably has the same percentage of story as Jeremy Creek in the Smallville pilot. So, actually, Jeremy Creek had quite a big role in the pilot. So I know this is a usual pilot thing because of this lack of time. I'm not sure I can really form an opinion, but I'm sure he will keep Superman busy doing super things while Lois investigates Morgan Edge, whose presence is felt in the pilot even if he isn't seen any more than possibly a photo. If I have anything I didn't like about the pilot and my impression of the series so far, it would be that the middle parts of the pilot weren't as exciting as were things starting and where they stopped. But then again, all of those scenes were necessary for the narrative. And as I mentioned, the end was very rewarding. I was left with the strong sense of wanting more, though at the same time I felt the show was paced so an episode was very complete, rewarding experience. This was probably one of the most story-filled TV episodes that I've seen in recent history, and I do appreciate that. The other thing isn't a complaint so much as a hope. I know many have pushed for more diversity in the show, and I do hope there are some major characters of colour coming to the series. Perhaps someone like John Henry Iron Still, who, as far as I know, has not appeared in live action since the Shaq movie. Surprisingly, I wasn't disappointed that the New Kent farm was not the one from Smallville. Why would you be? As many of us originally hoped. After all, Martha Kent did live there in Elseworlds. But I do think that with this show's aesthetic, where it's shot, having 2 kids and the need for a lot of open land, it seems new choices were actually worth it. Like I said, this looks different than any other CW superhero show because basically they're not running this show. Basically, it's just on their network. Everything I'm saying will come to pass. You just wait and see. And a different house may represent part of that. Otherwise, we'd just be thinking of those previous projects all the time. It's not to say I want the past ignored forever, but to start it might be best to go completely new. With that said, I'd love for Jonathan and Jordan to meet their second cousin, Kara somebody, though perhaps crossovers would be best seen on the other shows, so as not to interrupt the grounded nature of Superman and Lois. I agree there. Showrunner Todd Helbing wrote the pilot script based on the story credited to him with Greg Berlanti, and with everyone involved, it became a mix of things that will make for a very good introductory story. I left desperate for episode 2, and I'm glad that at least when this airs, we'll surely be getting an episode 2 of this season on a trailer to get hints of what's next. I also have to give credit to Lee, Tone and Krieger and the cinematographers involved with this show. They developed a look that was even unique from previous projects, and I say that as someone who has loved the aesthetics of Krieger's previous work and the casting. Again, the mix of actors really seemed made for each other. I mentioned 2 other successful past Superman projects at the start of this review, and a big reason for that is that I feel that, like those 2 shows, Superman Lois finds something relatable to make it last and endure. Lois and Clark paired Superman with the then popular sexual tension of a series like Moonlighting. Smallville began as Superman by way of Dawson's Creek, and now we have this Superman via Friday Night Lights or Everwood. I find this a formula that can appeal to fans of the comics as well as others who may not have this history. On a letter grade scale, this is one gets an A. Tune in on February the 23rd. It's not going to take away or ruin anything you've loved in the past, but it might make you love Superman and Lois Lane even more. So, mostly, apart from a few idiotic comments, that was a really, really good review from Craig. So well done, Craig. But basically, and by the way, I want to take one point about the diversity. Go and look at the casting, Craig, right? This is so diverse and so inclusive in its casting. Now, he talks about people of colour. People of colour, as I've said on this channel many times, are the most represented minorities in television and film and the entertainment industry. So what has Todd and Berlanti done with this? They've actually included and represented minorities that don't normally get represented. So sorry, Craig, that you want to see more people of colour when you see them all over television. Now, everyone should have the opportunity, but people of colour have had more opportunity than anyone else in the entertainment industry. So I think it's a bit rich from Craig to mention that he wants to see more people of colour in the series when we're trying to give a bigger stage for other minorities as well as people with colour. So what did you think of that review? Are you excited for Superman and Lois? I am, I must admit. Reading that review really excited me. I think this is going to be a great show. I think this is going HBO Max exclusive in Season 2. You just wait and see. Really excited for the Joker in Zack Snyder's Justice League Snyder Cut as well. Comment down below, like, share and subscribe, and I'll be back tomorrow with even more DCEU Daily. See you again soon.